Where did this water come from? Oh, Publix.
This Publix should be BPA stuff. As far as the
Everything's better than that thick stuff Carlos like to get from Whole Foods.
what do you get?
I don't know. It's the 365 spring water.
Yeah.
It's so thick.
Oh, I get that sometimes. You don't like that?
I'm like, please, can we get something different? He get the whole case of the tall ones. Like, I cannot. Okay. Okay. Peace and love, everybody. Welcome back to another video. It is our weekly collaboration together. So first of all, I know a lot of you were asking what Monte's information was on YouTube, so I'm just going to let him give you his information, his handle, and how you can reach him if you are interested.
I think it's Monte. Should be Monte Wellness. Monte's Healthy Solutions. I had got away from YouTube for a minute, so I hadn't really been, and I changed my name so much on it, unfortunately. But yeah, I think it's Monte's Healthy Solutions. But also, you can reach me at my website. It's Monte's. It's actually MonteWellness.com, and like I said, we'll leave that back in the comment section once we get through with the video. But yeah, it's Monte's Healthy Solutions, the YouTube handle, and again, the website is Monte Wellness. That's MonteWellness.com. And I just got that website put up. We got a lot of herbal products and things of that nature on the site.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah. Y'all keep asking me, so this is the man, okay? This is the man to see for the herbs and the products that you need. Because I don't have them. I can just tell you what I use personally. But anyways, today's video is going to be a little bit exciting. You get to know us a little bit better, our dynamic growing up. And I know a lot of you had a few questions, so we're going to answer your questions, and we'll just do like a dialogue and just kind of share information and that kind of thing. But please understand that we are sharing our life with you, and we have so much to bring you guys in the future, and we're so excited. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. So I know a lot of you had asked, was Monte my biological father? Because we do look alike, okay? But we're just gonna let him tell you guys how he, I guess, came into our lives and how old we were and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So no, I'm not their biological father. None of the girls, but I've been there since they were. Quee was 4, Shan was 5, and Minx was 18 months, I believe. So I've been there since from that time forth, and of course I met Sharon, and Sharon had already made family, and so we linked up, and then like I said, Quee was giving me a hard time because her father had actually told her to be mean to me, and she was trying her best to be mean to me at 4 years old, being rebellious and everything, and then we found out that this is why she was acting the way she was acting. So we started off on not so good terms, so to speak.
Yeah, that's true. And I can actually remember, I remember parts of myself really just being disconnected from even welcoming the idea of a new man in my mom's life. Even though Monte treated her good, he treated us really good. I was still hanging on to the idea of my dad being there. I did for a long time, actually, but after a while, I started to realize, okay, he's not going anywhere. He's doing everything for us, and he's playing the role of the father. So, after a while, the phone calls that stopped coming, the lies that continued on my biological dad's side of things, I started to kind of realize that this is just what it is at this point. So I let go of the idea of even trying with him, honestly. And Monte just became that father role and just really stepped up to the position, honestly, which I'm very grateful for, So another question, how was our relationship growing up? It was a little bit rocky, I'm not going to lie to you. I was very, very emotional as a child. I felt very misunderstood just in my own head because I dealt with a lot that, a lot of people, it's probably hard for people to fathom, but I would lie. I was a terrible liar. And I would make things up, which I felt like probably was an escape and a way to gain attention. But I don't know, I felt really like I was trying to fill a void without my real dad being there, but also I didn't really feel a true connection between me and Monte growing up because of, I guess, his approach to things. And I knew he wasn't my dad. So in the back of my mind, there will always be, he can't really tell me what to do because he's not really my dad. If I got mad at him about something, discipline wise or just anything. And, as a kid, it's like we don't think about intention. We think about, or we see, it's really based on what we see, delivery and that kind of thing. And to me, I never understood his intentions for real. I didn't even know what it meant to understand somebody's intentions. But now, honey, okay, if it wasn't for Monte, I probably wouldn't be the woman that I am today, which I'm so grateful for. As a kid, you hear all the time, you're not going to learn until you get older. You're not going to understand until you get older. Those words now mean so much to me. It's like, and it's actually sank in for me. Like, I get it now. But our relationship growing up was I was very defiant. And then as a girl, I was still kind of trying to find myself in a way. So I was kind of in my own world, and then I was dealing with things that I didn't feel comfortable talking to anybody about. I was hearing voices in my head, and as a parent, if a kid come to you and tell you they hearing something, you're gonna be like, okay, you need to stop talking crazy. I don't know. You're not gonna really know how to deal with that. It's gonna be like, okay, don't tell nobody else this, because then they go, you just don't know. So at the time, I didn't understand what it was or what it meant, and as a parent, I don't know how they felt about that for real. So the imbalance kind of just, I don't know, it just led to me disconnecting myself from them trying to better understand me, and I just wasn't letting nobody in.
And it was, like I said, it was, we had good times, we had a lot of rough times, because again, as a parent, coming in and taking on 3 kids that were not mine, it was, it was a little bit of struggle. It was a little easier for me because she was so much younger, so she really wasn't that connected to their biological father. And let me put this out there to make sure that we got the idea of how the relationship worked. I always encourage the father, her biological father, to be a part of their lives. I always tried to make the connection. I would even offer to take them wherever they need to take them so that they can meet and do those type of things. So I never was that guy that tried to stop the biological father from being in his daughter's life. That was not me. That would never be me. Because again, 2 would be a lot better than 1. And if they are the biological parent, then I definitely think that connection should always be a part of the equation if it can be. So I always promoted him being a part of their lives. But again, he chose to do whatever he had to do. Again, he was going through things as well. So not making excuses, but we all come and deal with things that don't allow us to do the right thing at the right time. So that is part of the equation. But again, it was difficult understanding Qui a lot, because again, she did operate differently. We really didn't know what was going on because, as she just shared, she didn't really share with us that she was hearing voices. And then we probably would not have been able to really understand it at that time anyway, because of our immature. At that point, our maturity level probably wasn't at the point where we would be able to deal with someone coming and telling us that they're hearing voices, and we deal with it in a mature way. Because again, in the Black community, it's a stigma to have whatever you have going on. It doesn't mean that you're dealing with things that may be super psychotic, but just to have someone say that it's a stigma for us, so we really don't deal with those things well. But as time went on, I handled things certain ways that look back on it, I wouldn't do now with the maturity level that I've come to. But at the same time, the intentions were always there for the good. The delivery wasn't always good. So I did come off in some ways a little bit uh, too aggressive, too hard on the girls, not really understanding that the male and female nature are different. Doesn't mean one is superior or inferior, but we are different. And the ability to handle the girls in my immature state at that time, I look back and see why I made a lot of mistakes. But again, we've come full circle, so to speak, and we see each other for the importance that we both had in each other's life. So I'm grateful that, like I said, she could see what I was trying to do, and I'm grateful that now I can see from talking to her now that we can definitely still learn and grow and connect even more.
Absolutely. So, what good things do I remember growing up about Monte? Okay, first of all, Monte was funny. Like dancing. Okay, let him hear some music. Okay, the dance. He wasn't the best dancer, but I used to remember him trying to dance. Okay, and then we had a dog. Okay, the dog used to drive him crazy purposely. That was the funniest thing ever. But we always had a good time. We went to the park a lot. We used to eat out a lot. Like ice cream was like our thing. Monte loves some sweets, so we definitely got into some cookies often. Okay, cookies were our thing. So we baked a lot of cookies, baked a lot of sweets in general, and we built the house up together. Yard work. I remember us planting a tree in the front yard together. Just they introduced us to a lot. We had a garden, so we did learn a lot. We were exposed to a lot, but at the same time, we didn't really go to other people's house. Like that wasn't really, something that we did because other people's parents raised them a little bit different. The type of music that they were allowing their kids to listen to, we weren't really listening to, like the hip hop type music. I mean, a few, you get a few songs here and there that were appropriate for us, but everything was based on what they felt was appropriate, which I really appreciate seriously because we weren't exposed to a lot of like the stuff that we did go out and learn is because we done ran off and learned it from our friends, or we sneaking and doing little stuff. But honestly, they kept us like the music that we listened to wasn't nothing bad, wasn't no profanity, everything was just really pure. And we went to the library a lot. I know with Monte, he used to take us to the library and we would pick out books and we would write essays, y'all. Now, at the time, I hated reading. I mean, I hated it, but he was so, strategic about our education. And he just wanted us to be better off than, him and mom were, at their age. So he really pushed for education. He really invested his time into sports. If there was something, that we wanted to do, extracurricular wise, they definitely, basketball was kind of, I'm gonna tell you, looked out for us on the basketball side of things. I was lazy though. And I just wanted to watch TV all the time. So he used to try and, at the time I didn't understand, why can't I just watch TV? I don't want to do nothing. I just want to sit here and watch TV all day. Like, why I gotta get up and, read and like, I just didn't understand. Why do I have to go outside? I'm not an outside person. But now, honestly, I wouldn't be so into books the way I am. I take notes all the time. Like I'm always writing what I think I just read or my perspective on something that I just read. All of that stuff wouldn't be present if it wasn't for those fine little things that I was doing as a kid, that I didn't really want to do, but now it's like something that I love to do. So I'm very appreciative for, everything that I've learned, even gardening now. I want my own garden. Y'all know I take care of all my plants. Tried the in-home garden and all of that stuff. All of that stuff came from me growing up the way that I did and experiencing certain things. So I'm very appreciative for, all of that, growing up with them. But I'm sure I'm going to take out some funny stories about us as kids because we were crazy, honey. We used to fight, okay? They used to have to break up fights. Pinky used to tell all the time, okay? She used to tell it, okay? And we would go run to try and stop her from telling and rob her out of telling, okay? But we were really good girls overall, and they did a great job, raising us. Always make sure we had everything we need. Christmases were beautiful for the most part, especially when we were younger. I remember getting so much stuff. I mean, my Taylor be like, look, you spend all of this money on this stuff they ain't even gonna need. You know, my mama used to be like, well, you know, it's Christmas, they love this stuff, I'm doing it for the kids, blah, blah, blah. So she made sure, you know, that we still got to see certain things, which I appreciate. And then another thing, you know, growing up, Monte never forced us to go to church, which, you know, at the time, my mom was just kind of like, you know, get them out the house. We was just going for her so she could get a peace of mind, you know, get the kids out the house, give them something to do, go on to church with your grandma. And, you know, we never understood what we were learning. So when we would come home and Taylor would ask, you know, like, what did you learn while you were at church today? Not coming from a bad place. He just really wanted to see, like, you know, don't just force the kids into something that they know nothing really about, you know, which I appreciated because I would watch him watch lectures growing up, and he would be taking notes, just very in tune with learning in general, just trying to be better. And I don't know, it was just so, I don't know, it's just so crazy. Like now when I think about it, everything that I questioned as a kid, or, you know, that was brought to my attention as a kid, now as an adult, I have a better understanding, and I'm more in tune with what I want for myself instead of what I was forced, you know, to think was okay, or to think that wasn't the only way necessarily. Like I actually became a philosopher in my own life the more I grew up because of him asking us questions, him, you know, always just making sure we understood things on a deeper level before we just jump right into it and take it on as something that we believe for fact. You know, always question things, you know, was his philosophy, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, definitely. Again, like we definitely did a lot. And Sharon did a great job at allowing me to actually follow them in that way. Again, she would check me if I ever got out of line or whatever, and we would always have conversations. We didn't agree on a lot, but she wasn't one of those parents that didn't allow me to actually. They rarely. I don't know that they ever. Did you ever get a beat? I don't know.
I got one from Mama.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I've ever put my hands on them that I can remember. Maybe Shan one time. Shan.
Yeah, I think maybe like I didn't even go there.
Maybe
cloth was different.
Maybe I think maybe I spanked Shan maybe one time.
Yes, it was one time that I can remember. Yes,
maybe one time. And then, like I said, I don't think Red or Quee or Minx ever got one. Not for me, for sure. Again, we were just working hard trying to do the right thing. We weren't trying to not expose them to life, but we was trying to not allow them to be overly exposed to music in that sense that it's not age appropriate. You know what I mean? Again, I love hip hop, and I would listen to hip hop, but I wouldn't listen to the ratchet hip hop around them if I was listening to them because they were young and they didn't need to be exposed to that. You know what I mean? Once they got older, my philosophy was we do the best that we can with what it is that we have and what we understand. And then as they get older, they'll make the decisions, and it's going to be on them what they choose to do. It wasn't a complete isolation or anything like that at all. So definitely, we had a good time. We would always go to the park because at first we was living in a rougher part of the city, but we would always go all the way out into the country to go to the park to get away from where we was at. And we used to do that all the time. I mean, almost every day, especially when it was summertime, things of that nature. Yes. But we had a great time. Like I said, dancing and no, I couldn't dance. I had like 2 steps. You know what I mean? That's all I did.
2 steps and a little hot jump.
A little hot jump, yeah. And that was pretty much it. But yeah. We definitely tried our best to do the best we could with what we was working with when it came to raising the kids. And like I said, I accepted them as my own. I wanted them to be free thinkers. That's why I always would question them about what they learned when they went to church. Not just to accept what has been passed on to us, to actually examine and see if it actually fits into what it is that we actually believe. And the only way that we do that is being exposed to a lot of different things. I know a lot of people like to shut down. You shouldn't look at this. You shouldn't do that. At a certain age, you should be able to explore anything in order to get an understanding of what is out there. And if you're emotionally mature enough, then you handle and make the decisions based off what it is that you understand, not based off what it is that has been passed on to you. So that was the guiding light behind my decisions when it came to that with the kids.
Absolutely. It was definitely a good childhood overall. I mean, most of my time, like, it's like some memories I can't, like, I be trying to go back and remember, but I can't remember everything. Like, I don't know if I repressed the memory of certain things, but I can't remember a lot of things. But what I do remember was like good, and I'm very appreciative for, like, I know I'm just like thinking about it. When I think my mom came to certain stuff like with school functions and stuff, but donuts for dad, Monte made sure he came. Okay. He would come, just to try and be support the best way that they could. They did the best that they could, and I'm very appreciative for him because he didn't have to step in the way he did. And I know that I wouldn't think the way that I do today if it wasn't for the guidance that I got as a kid and just a lot of things. I'm so glad he saved us from a lot, being a stricter parent, and not allowing us to just run free like most of the neighborhood kids did. Because we did stay in a pretty decent neighborhood, but the kids was off the chain, okay? Their parents were a little bit more lenient, and they knew, our parents didn't play. Like, we were some pretty girls, so the boys they was there. But, as a kid, when I used to always tell the boys going to be there, they're going to always be there. I never understood that, then. Like, why we can't just play with whoever we want to, what does it matter? Just a lot of things that I questioned, I didn't really understand, but it was all to protect us. And now as an adult, I definitely understand, I get it, and I'm very appreciative. So the last question is, what's the biggest thing that we learned from each other? I guess just overall. For me though, everything honestly that I can remember was definitely a learning experience. And I also learned now as an adult that Monte his intentions were always pure. When it came to us, and I'm very thankful. Like, I can't tell y'all how thankful I am. Sometimes I get a little emotional thinking about it because it's like I didn't understand all the time. And even with my mom, I never really clearly understood all the time what certain things meant. Even all the way down to you gonna appreciate a nap one day. I never understood what things meant. Okay.
Kind of lay it down.
Just being a child and somebody telling you stay in a child, like be a child as long as you can. You don't understand what any of those things mean. And I think now, being able to process things differently, I understand how to, I guess, do that, show my child that it's going to be okay to be in that position, or just really influence that space for them to be a child for as long as they can, or to just practice that freedom of thought and embracing who they are, at the highest level. Just whatever you feel like you want to do, to just, I'm here for it, that kind of thing. Like, my understanding now, even knowing that I'm about to be a mom, like, my understanding for things is because of how I was raised. And I know now that it's not so much about what you say, but how you do it, like what you're actually doing. And I'm so grateful, because if it wasn't for them, y'all, I can't stress that enough, especially Monte. Like, I remember more of him as far as my education and questioning things and learning things and just being, or exploring the intellectual side of things. I learned most of that from Monte. My mom wasn't really, she was more of a affectionate person. So when it comes to love and, how to just still keep a peace of mind, maintain your peace, and the spiritual side of things, for me, I learned most of that from my mom. But I'm very grateful for the dynamic that I had from both of them. So I learned a lot, and I know I have a lot to pass on to my child because of how I was brought up, and I'm very appreciative for that.
So what I learned, and I learned it later on as I reflected back on how um, raising three girls, how the dynamic, how to actually handle and deal with how to deliver things, how to deliver questions, things that you want to get achieved. The delivery is so important. It's maybe the right thing, but if the delivery is not right, if the timing is not right. So what I learned is that you can't force. You can only force an individual to do something that they don't want to do, uh, as long as they are fearful. Once they get to that age, that size, where they're no longer afraid of you, and you still trying to force things on them, they're gonna rebel. So it's much more. It's better to have an individual, a person, a child, whoever that you're dealing with, to be able to deliver something to them that they would gladly do instead of trying to force them to do X, Y, and Z. Because eventually, the only reason that they're gonna do anything that they want to do is because they want to do it, not because they are fearful of you anymore, as it becomes the parent and child dynamic. And a lot of times I tried to enforce my authority on them to do certain things when they weren't doing it. And what I learned is that was the wrong approach. Again, you can't go back and undo it, but moving forward, you can share that with what she's about to be a parent. You can share that with other individuals to let them know that, look, learn how to really deal with your child. You know, again, it is your child, but they are human. They do have emotions. They do have feelings. They do have thoughts. They do have wants. That doesn't mean that they are the parent. But we have to deal with them in a way that we're going to make sure that those things are not damaged along the way, trying to get them to do something that we know that they should do or need to do or that we need for them to be doing. So that's one of the biggest things that I learned. And then, like I said, just to learn that, love, means a lot. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. So everything was beautiful overall. I'm very grateful. I did want to. Oh, I was just now sitting over here remembering the entrepreneur side of things between him and mom. I mean, how many businesses they created? I mean, if you want to say a get rich quick scheme, they did everything. Okay, they had so many businesses, and I remember just them putting their money. I mean, jewelry, uniforms, painting business. I mean, everything. Yes, they were trying to make money. Okay, so I always seen them work very hard. Always, they both worked extremely hard to try and make sure we had a good life. And I'm just very appreciative for everything overall, and where our relationship has become so much stronger because we understand each other now, and I don't know. It's just I feel so warm, on the inside to just know that I get to have a life of my own, this child, and they get to experience Monte in this light. It's not the same light that I experienced him in, but the light is just so pure to me, and the intention is so pure and so beautiful. I wouldn't want it any other way. And so now you guys know a little bit more about us, and understand, where we were and where we are now. And it's just a beautiful thing. And I hope that you all, if you have a father figure in your life or somebody, you take time out to try and understand, if the dynamic of your relationship is not healthy right now, or you didn't understand each other at some point, or, you just choosing not to have a relationship for whatever reason, you kind of find it in your heart to understand where they were coming from, and allow yourself to be more open-minded about, things in general, because all of us are coming from a place that may be broken or, maybe just misunderstood in general. And we don't always know how to deal with each other. So if you have somebody in your life, that, you just need to get that just get it together. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's not going to be an overnight thing, but just try, just to try and understand where somebody is coming from without judgment is really the main thing. So hopefully this video will help you, to just see that you can overcome anything. But it first starts with you trying to understand yourself, where you went wrong, and then understanding where the other person's, what their background is, where they're coming from, and it could be a beautiful thing. It can be
Well,
yes.
yeah. Well, no, that's true. And again, that's basically Quee summed it up. Like I said, give the person a chance, and make sure that you're coming from a pure place. We're all bringing trauma to the equation, and the best thing is to deal with our own trauma and recognize that it is there, and then have compassion for others, especially if you see that the person is a good person. And a lot of times, the person is a good person, but the delivery, the behavior, and etc. may not be in line with what it is that they actually are, because they're dealing with some trauma. But try to see beyond that, and especially if it's a father-daughter, mother-son, mother-daughter, father-son relationships. Definitely try to mend those if we can. And again, if you can't mend it all the way, like we said in the last segment that we had, you may have to step back, but still don't let the love break free. Learn how to deal with them where they're at, still love them, and move on beyond that. But again, the key is self-love and self-evolution. The more we evolve, the more we look at ourselves, the more we can become more of what we are.
Hey, the self-evolution, honey. Evolve or die. It's just what it is. You got to get your mind in that space of growth, okay, and understanding. This is a beautiful place to be. It really is. And when you at least try to be in that space of understanding, you can really learn so much. I don't know, I can't really explain it. People probably be looking at me like I'm crazy because I just hold so much love and peace in my heart towards everybody, because I understand, like, not outside of learning people, from studying psychology, but really just taking time to understand myself. Yeah. When you really understand yourself, you really understand aspects of other people. Like, I can't express that enough, but I really enjoyed this video today. I think our closing remarks were already said, so we're not going to hold you guys too much longer, but we will be back next week, and hopefully we will be posting, on Monte's channel, Monte's Healthy Solutions. So go over there and subscribe if you haven't already, because we're going to have more videos coming to you guys from both channels. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys again. If there's something that you would like for us to talk about specifically, any topics, that you would be interested in from us, please let us know in the comment section below, or email me at worldofquee@gmail.com as always. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you guys in another video.
Peace and love. That's it.
Yay.
Yeah, that was good.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. Now let the flow.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, definitely. And you say 2 weeks, you have your agenda